Good evening, everyone. Justice Khanna, please, sir. Our guest of honor, Justice Sanjeev Khanna, our awardees, which we shall, sir, our awardees who will announce in just a bit, members of EGI and distinguished friends. On behalf of the Guild, it is my immense pleasure to welcome everyone to today's event, the revival of Prem Bhatia Journalism Awards and Memorial Lecture, and the first edition under the stewardship of the Guild. As you all, I'm sure, aware, the Prem Bhatia Trust was founded in 1995 in the memory of Sri Prem Bhatia, the eminent journalist, editor of Tribune, also the editor of Express, who was very well known both for his political reporting and far-sightedness. The trust, which was put together by his family, his sons, Mr. Anand Bhatia, Mr. Shyam Bhatia, who were there with us, and of course his colleagues and friends and journalists who respected him, with the objective in honor of values that he stood for: objective reporting, fearless pursuit of the truth, and a commitment to improving the standards of journalism in the country. The Trust instituted 2 awards, one on political journalism and one on environmental journalism. And over the last 30 years, I think more than 40 journalists and organizations have been awarded the 2 awards. However, in the post-COVID years, there was a hiatus, and I think the Trust was figuring out ways to continue its activities and continue to give shape to the legacy of both Mr. Bhatia and the Journalism Awards and Lecture. Exactly a year ago, around the same time, we at Guild were also thinking about our own journalism award, because often over the years there's been recommended that Guild should institute. So one of our former presidents, Raj Chingappa, came up with this marvelous idea and who was also a trustee at the Prem Bhatia Trust, that why don't we combine the both? The trust has been figuring out ways to continue its legacy, and the Guild has been trying to sort of institute its own award. And he spoke to Mr. Bhatia, both Mr. Bhatia, I would imagine, and other trustees. Seema, who's one of our former presidents, was also a trustee. Ms. Rami Chhabra, also a trustee of Prem Bhatia Trust. And they all, I must say, very willingly agreed to it. We met Mr. Bhatia, and I think this was sort of a marriage that sort of happened very, very easily. And Raj, thanks to you. You were the instigator of the idea. Thank you. And then came, of course, then once the award was instituted, the trust, of course, generously donated their entire corpus to us. We started to put together a jury to continue the legacy. And there again, we went back to the trustees, both Seema and Ms. Chhabra, who have been trustees. We asked them to chair the respective juries. Ramiji kindly agreed for environmental journalism, and Seema, who's unfortunately not here because she had a medical emergency, agreed to chair the political jury. And the 2 juries were formed with Seema, Ms. Smita Gupta, and Mr. Raj Gopalan for the political journalism jury, and Ms. Rami Chhabra, Mr. Sainath, and Ms. Sujata Madhok for the environmental journalism. And we put out the call, and of course, after that, it was all to jury. They sort of screened I think there were more than 50 applications in each of the awards, and I will let them talk about the process they had put together, the rigorous evaluation they had to do, and the evaluation methodology under which the 2 winners were announced. A little bit about the lecture today. Generally, one would imagine that in a lecture like this, especially for journalism, you would want a speaker who talks about one of the many challenges that we are facing. And of course, journalism is facing more than a few challenges. Perhaps the gravest challenges, the gravest time we have faced in living memory, I could say. Journalism, which has long been a pillar of democracy, is now under siege over multiple fronts, from an insular government, from new emerging technologies, dominance of platforms and how they govern the way we consume news and content, the shrinking business model of news itself. Of course, we need to be introspective and also look inward and look at the eroding standards of ethics in journalism. Equally worse, the way journalism has become probably subservient to the cause of nationalism. And above all, we are facing challenges on the legal front, because the legal environment under which journalism operates itself has become very cumbersome. I think one cannot underscore the interdependence of judiciary and media. As a journalist, as a publisher, as editors, we have high aspirations from judiciary, especially given the legal framework within which news media operates. Of course, our Article 19(1)(a) gives us freedom of speech, but 19(2) also allows the government to put reasonable restrictions in the interest of the multiple 8 exceptions, each of which can be broadly worded, each of them are subjective, each of them are open to interpretation by the person who's interpreting them. And that power to interpret has been divested across the state agencies, across law enforcement agencies. And over the years, one has seen how those powers have become more and more widespread, how there has been a chance, how a system has become where sometimes we feel the legal system has been weaponized to control both freedom of speech and press freedom. The process has become a punishment. Oftentimes, and more often than not, I don't think so, the punishment is there in the court of law, but the process itself becomes cumbersome. And these are the issues that Guild has been taking up ever since it was formed. Recently, by way of statements, by way of representations of the government, by way of programs, and by way of judicial intervention. And I must say that we have had some recent successes. Recently, the government had put together a fact-checking unit under the IT rules, and the Guild challenged it along with other organizations and successfully challenged it. Bombay High Court put a stay to it. Not even stay to it, it actually held it unconstitutional. There was a sedition law which was routinely used against journalists, and Guild, again, along with multiple other parties, approached the Supreme Court, and in 2022, the Supreme Court had put a stay in sedition. However, the sad twist to that saga was that sedition was reintroduced under BNS under the name of treason, and the scope of sedition was further expanded. There was Pegasus, in which again the Guild had approached the court, and the court had ordered an inquiry, though it remains inconclusive. However, at least it brought the issue to court. And then, of course, in the case of Manipur ethnic violence, the Guild has sent a fact-finding committee to report on the media's own reporting on Manipur. And that report, which of course implicated the local parts of media and also the government, there was there were FIRs filed against the members of the committee, and the Guild again approached the court. And the court, of course, come down heavily in the way the entire matter was dealt with. So we have got a lot of successes in the court. The Guild obviously has made certain representations. We were able to successfully stall the broadcast bill, which had the fear of creating, again, a very overarching censorship mechanism. But there are many other laws. The Data Act has been passed. The Guild is in active conversation with the government to dampen, or to at least protect the speech, the encroachment of freedom of speech, because Data Act has the potential of completely eroding the space for independent journalism. Already it has shrunk the space for RTIs. So therefore, we are living at a time where our reliance in courts has become far more than perhaps before, at least we feel so. And while both judiciary and media, and the topic is such that Justice Khanna has thought of, where we talk about two institutions that are supposed to protect our rights, supposed to protect constitutional rights, and I won't breach into what he's going to speak, but I'm going to say that from the journalist's end, we feel that for an independent judiciary independent media to exist, we want the judiciary to support us, and that's our aspiration, that's our hope, and that's what we bank on, because that's our last recourse when everything else fails.